cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
We're on opposite sides.
It's crazy.
It's new setup. And this is going to be our reaction review discussion of episode 1 of What If, and then it goes if Captain Carter was the first Avenger.
Right.
And I kind of like the idea of the series with the What If title itself was like, oh, this is gonna be cool. And then if they're gonna do What If T'Challa was Star-Lord, what if there was Avenger zombies, what if, like, so it's What If, and then the titles of each of the episodes are going to be something. So I like that. I like that idea a lot. First, I want to talk about how we got here. When
a mommy and a daddy love each other very, very much. No? Oh.
No. Okay. We're sitting very close to each other, so I just feel like I need to... when they announced Disney Plus and all the stuff that was going to be coming to Marvel, they listed WandaVision and Hawkeye and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, and everybody's excited. And then they kind of like, oh, by the way, we're doing What If, which is one of the kind of the fun ways for creators to play in the Marvel comic universe, and everybody went, oh, by the way, Jeffrey Wright's going to be the Watcher. And so everybody's like, okay, now what does this mean, and what's going to happen, and whatever. With what's happened already and what's been set up with WandaVision and Loki and all that kind of stuff, this makes complete sense as the next thing to show us, to get used to the concept of different versions of stories that we already know.
The multiverse.
The multiverse. And so with all that being said, when they announced all this stuff, everybody was like, what are you most excited about?
Yeah.
And I said, whatever was next.
Right. Yeah.
So whatever was the next thing is what I was excited about. But this was the one I was most intrigued with, because of the storytelling.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I was also excited.
Right.
Or I was excited, but and I'm happy.
Yes.
It's exactly what I wanted it to do. I'm not huge into cartoon stuff, usually like the Bad Batch and that kind of stuff he watches. but I enjoyed it, and I loved the story, and I loved how they did it. It wasn't like shoehorned in. There was enough stuff that was the same, that you got the Captain America, the first one, the feels. Right. But the story was different enough that you didn't feel like they just stuck a girl on Steve Rogers. And
there's a lot of cues. I mean, they tell the same story essentially. Yeah. They're telling the same story of spoilers, by the way. We're going to talk about spoilers. But they give you, somebody gets the super serum. It just happens to be Peggy and not Steve. Right. And they go after Bucky. And I love the joke about you almost ripped my arm off kind of thing. And then there's the whole, we think we lose somebody that we really are close to, and then we get they're saved, and we're trying to stop Hydra. So all that stuff. And then Peggy's the one who goes into the ice, which is a Tesseract, which I find that a very interesting storytelling idea. Yeah. Because you couldn't have told that story. You couldn't tell the story of somebody going into a weird cube with a octopus coming out of it early at that point of the Captain America first.
People would have been like, that's too far.
That's too far, right? But Red Skull is not too far. Right. But I also liked some of the fighting tropes were kind of the same, and some of but different enough.
But kind of over the top is probably not the way to explain it. But it's a cartoon; it's not live action, so she can jump a motorcycle up to the top of a turret and throw it in the...
She can bunny hop a freaking Harley. World War II Harley into a crow's nest or whatever.
Yeah. And you're like, yep, absolutely, do it.
The other thing too for me with this was the idea of they brought a lot of the actors who played these characters originally in the MCU back for the voice acting stuff. Now, when we get to the Drax Guardians episode, we'll have a different conversation about what happened with Dave Bautista there. But with this particular episode, they got most everybody back that they could get back. The only ones that really were missing was Chris Evans, and it's not that Chris didn't want to do it or would say no to it or whatever, but you need a younger
voice,
smaller voice for Steve, because he doesn't get the serum,
right?
And so I like that they picked Josh Keaton to be the skinny Steve Rogers,
and it's close enough that you're not like, oh, that's somebody completely different, but not exactly the same, where you're going, oh, this is Captain America. You know, it's not Captain America, it's Captain Britain or whatever,
right.
Captain Peggy, Captain Carter.
Captain Carter. We'll work it out. Which kind of lays the groundwork for Captain Britain in live action somewhere down the line, with what they did with the super soldier serum and Isaiah Bradley and stuff like that in the storytelling they told earlier. So now they've laid more groundwork for him to show up, or her. I mean, the way they told the story, it could have been a woman in the 70s who got the super soldier serum and been part of the Vietnam process and stuff like that. It would be a really kind of cool, interesting conversation to have. Anyways, that's speculation for another show. But the only other voice that I was surprised they didn't have, and surprise is not the right word. Surprise is not the right word. The guy who did Red Skull, Ross Marquand, is actually the one who played him in Endgame and Infinity War.
Right.
Because Hugo Weaving is done with Marvel. It's Hugo Weaving. He's just weird like that. He was done playing that character. He did it once and he's done. And so, but he's really good of pulling off the Red Skull part. Not so much the Johann Schmidt part, but the Red Skull he's got.
Yeah.
He's got that part.
Yeah. And again, it was close enough that, you know,
it didn't throw me off.
It
didn't throw me off. No. The other, I liked the animation. I liked the storytelling, the way they kind of laid it out in front of us. They start the episode off with the Watcher telling us that the idea that one little thing can change so much going forward. And it's nice that they start there, especially with First Avenger, because we're all so familiar with that story. You lay the groundwork in the first 2 minutes of the idea of one little change changes so much going forward, even though a lot of it is so close to what we know.
Yeah. And he points it out. He's like, right there.
Yeah.
So you're not like, wait, what? How did this change?
Right.
I mean, things changed, but you know, you're like, what? It doesn't leave you guessing. They tell you right there that decision, which is real life, right? You know, your decisions, and you can sometimes go back and go, right there was the moment.
That was the moment. Yeah. Yep. I didn't know that was the life-changing moment where I said yes instead of saying maybe or whatever.
Yep.
And if this particular episode, it was Peggy decided to stay in the room with Steve getting the serum done, not going up in the booth. And I like that. I always liked with Peggy Carter, her fighting against the notion of the male dominant control of everything that's going on, especially in World War II, but moving forward. She's always fighting for representation and being a voice in the room and everything like that. And they show her fighting it before she even gets the serum.
Yeah.
And then she has the backing of the serum and can kick everybody's ass in the room, and she knows it. Then she finally at the end of the episode tells Colonel Flynn, like, you're just lucky to be in the room.
Yeah.
Throwing it back in his face.
Which is exactly what he said to her in the beginning.
There was more than one time in this episode where I went, yep. Just the still frame of something going on, Peggy holding the shield with a sword. The Howling Commandos scene, which is so iconic from the first one.
Yeah.
I've been holding off on ordering it. I'm probably going to go order it now. But Funko did the Hydra Smasher, kind of the Gen 1 Iron Man with Peggy right in the back. That one might have to get bought twice because one has to stay in the box, but one has to come out of the box and go on the shelf back here because it's cool. But from what they were doing and what they laid out in this episode, it's familiar enough so we can be comfortable with it. So when they get to the really weird stuff down the line, like Avengers zombies, zombie Avengers, we're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And it's also laying some more groundwork for when we get to multiverse and when they do stuff. And so that is our thoughts on. You have anything else?
No.
I think we covered it. 33-minute episode with 5 minutes of credits. So short, like good, short little episode.
Yep.
And I really appreciate it. So that is our thoughts and reaction and discussion about the first episode of What If Peggy Carter became the first Avenger. Let us know what Captain Carter. Did I say Peggy Carter?
Yes, Captain Carter.
What if? I'll just cut it out in post. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? Let us know what you thought of our comments, thoughts, and reactions to it in the comments down below. Please be nice. That is a requirement around here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and follow us on all the social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.